doctors were not ready to adopt to technologies. They were of the opinion that, we use, paper and pen to prescribe medicine. All came very naturally to me. And that's when I thought that, sitting at one place and coding is not my cup of tea, though I enjoyed it a lot. So I think at least from an entrepreneur side or from working in a startup point of view, I would definitely say that it does help. But we are better than any other country. There's no rocket science anywhere. But yes, they take their work a lot more seriously.
Hello and welcome back to another enlightening episode of GIBS IRE Talks Podcast, powered by GIBS BSchool Bangalore, where innovation meets inspiration. I'm your host Sandeep Bansali, and today we're going to be unveiling the truth of entrepreneurial world, health, education, as well as things that are very, very crucial in our lives. And the unavailability of these could make the quality of life would be diminishing. In the recent years, let's say probably a recent decade, we had seen the education, health coming to us to make our life a lot easier and sources are more accessible. So today, we have an amazing personality with us who has played a significant role in all the domains of our system. So we have Mr. Vikas, ex-Chief Business Officer, an academy and founding member of Practo. Currently, he is also working on a startup which is going to be very, very soon be launching. Thank you so much, Mr. Vikas, for joining us. It's really an honor to have you with us. And we are really very eager to know a lot of things from you. Just to start with, if we would love to understand more on your background, how your background been, what education you have done, or we understand you have been from one of the top-notch institutions as well. So we would love to know more about it.
Sure. Thanks, Sandeep. It's my pleasure. We are to just share a journey. I come from a tier 3 city of Jharkhand, right, where I did my schooling. Then I ended up doing my standard 11, 12th in Delhi. Joined college in Chennai, so I did my engineering from Chennai. Post that, I joined Practo at a very early stage when we were just starting up, and in between, I also did a course with IMA in basically a 1-year course, and then I've been associated with an academy for some time, and at this point of time, I am looking at venturing into a startup, working on my own, which is in progress currently, and looking to launch it in another 3-4 months from now.
That's really great. So when you say that you said you happen to study, you've done your engineering, and what made you to move from domain of engineering to business and to strategies and things?
Sure. So see, obviously, engineering was the option. Either you do engineering and medical. Coming from the state where I come from, that's the a path you should choose. So I selected engineering. I think a few things really moved me towards starting up my company or working in a company from very initial days. I've been always involved with technical fest, cultural fests of my college, and that got me into a lot of skills where I started meeting people. And in the meantime, we opened if you guys are aware, NEN, National Entrepreneurship Network. So we started in our college, and I think that was the point when I thought that either I start up or I work for a startup, and the whole urge of doing something of my own kicked on from that place, and so on.
So that's the time when you started your own brand EP.
Yes, so I think that was a company which we started in college itself. It ran for almost a year. We could not scale it much, and that's when again through NEN itself I got connected to Practo, and my journey started in healthcare.
Okay, that's really nice. So when you say you've been, I'm sure you've been the founding member of Practo and you have seen Practo growing right from the roots. So when you see back then and when you see today, what is that which took them all the way from a scratch to today's journey, I would say?
See, a lot of sweat, a lot of hard work. I still remember those very early days at Practo where, doctors were not ready to adopt to technologies. They were of the opinion that, we use, paper and pen to prescribe medicine. It's very difficult for them to, start using technology. But I think the never give attitude of a bunch of people back then And also we believed in the potential. We saw that India's uh, mobile penetration is going at a very fast pace. Healthcare is very much fragmented. It's in bits and pieces. Tier 1 cities have that affordability, have that convenience. But when you talk about tier 2, tier 3, and rural uh, places, it was a big mess, right? So I think we put our heads down. We just said that let's execute. We kept bringing on product by product, and yeah, finally what it is here, I would definitely say a lot of hard work, a lot of sweat, a lot of sleepless nights, finally to where Practo is today.
Super. So when you say, sir, you were in engineering and you moved to management education. So in case, if I have to ask you, sir, what does really takes when you move a shift from engineering to management, what thought process you had in mind when you were moving out?
See, I think I was very clear that I have to lead a team, I have to lead a business, I have to startup. So that was always there from day one, and I mean by choice also. I have always done some activities which has kept me on roads. For example, I've always wanted, I've always led my class in from, I would say, even from LKG to standard 12th to even engineering colleges, and it was not by anything, but it was by choice. I was just doing it so that I know how to learn about people, how to read them, how to manage people. So that all came very naturally to me, and that's when I thought that sitting at one place and coding is not my cup of tea. Though I enjoyed it a lot, but I had to select, and finally I said that I enjoy more being on roads, meeting people, than sitting on a chair. And
So you were
coding.
never an introvert person.
By nature I was an introvert, but maybe I think all this journey has now made me a lot more extrovert.
That's really sounds great. So you've been a part of Practo, and what made you to move to an academy? I think you've moved from chief business officer in the an academy. So any specific thoughts you had in mind while moving from Practo to an academy?
See, I think three, four sectors I personally follow a lot, right? Be it healthcare, be it education, anything related to skills, and in some sort also manufacturing. I'm like quite interested to. So that's what led me to join academy. We were working on a job tech platform, right? That how to make skilled candidate get job faster. That was the whole intention, and it was again very clear in what I want to do. Was very clear that these 2-3 industries I have to be in, and I am clear even today that even like 5 years, 10 years down the line, these were the industries where I'll be involved.
Wow, that's nice. So if have to tell you that what were the differences if you could notice being two different industries altogether, and any specific challenges you have come across in respective domains?
See, I think completely different businesses, honestly. Though there are similarities also. For example, empathy is one thing that is there in healthcare as well as in education. But I felt that healthcare is more of an episodic thing. For example, if I'm having fever, I go to a doctor, right? Not true with education, because education, when you do your standard 10th, you ideally go for an IIT JEE or a medical preparation, and education will give you bread and butter, right? So I found some how users use healthcare versus education also in a different ways. Also, the scale at which EdTech operates in a country is completely at next level. I think we all are aware about few companies there. So there were differences, there were similarities. Both are very core to nation building, in my view. Very, very core. If healthcare is built and at the same time if education is built, nation will prosper. And that was the process. So I think lot of learnings, scalability a lot more in an academy, 0 to 1 a lot more in Practo, and I mean both are doing quite good today. Yeah.
Okay, good. So when you say that a lot of students, since you mentioned about academics and studies, a lot of people dream to be in most of the top-notch institutions or B schools, I would say, since you've been a part of IMA. So what was your experience being in IIM Ahmedabad, and what do you think? See, as an outsider, I would always feel कि IIM में जाना एक बहुत बड़ा सपना है. So you've been there, so how does it feel?
See, it definitely adds flavor. There is no saying that it doesn't help if you study in some big B schools or even big tech schools, be it IITs or BITS Pilani. I think it does help. But one thing which I have realized is that it's ultimately a person's attitude and his discipline of what he believes he wants to do that takes him to places, right? For example, even if you see, there are a lot of entrepreneurs, be it Oyo, be it like, there are n number of companies where, people not even studied, right? Leave a tier 2 or tier 3 colleges. So I think, at least from an entrepreneur side or from working in a startup point of view, I would definitely say that it does help. But ultimately, if somebody has a passion, somebody is ready to take that risk, somebody is ready to put his head forward, that whatever happens, I'll go ahead and do it. It doesn't matter. But if you're looking for a very stable life, in terms of like working in
9 to 6 job kind of.
In that way it helps,
Okay.
right? Because generally companies prefers, right? So your first slot of placement definitely happens there. That way it helps. But in nutshell, I would say again, it's an individual attitude. It's an individual
Attitude what matters a lot more than the place where you are.
Yeah.
So when you spoke about the team handling or getting into jobs and things, you've also handled a team of almost 300, 400 people odd. So when you say you've handled a team, what are major challenges generally you come across with the new, I would say, candidates who are the freshers basically, I would say. So what challenges did you face there?
See, I think managing people is a different ball game altogether. I think you can manage people only when you put yourself in their shoes, right? I would say I have seen in my career two types of manager. One who will lead from front his own way, and there is a set of managers who will go into someone's shoes and they say that let's do things your way, right? I prefer a second one, and the reason is, by doing that you can get a lot of productivity out of the people. You can create a lot of long-term players in your team.
Okay.
And also you build such a relation that people start working for your company a lot more. So it becomes more like a relation, right? Then instead of just doing a 9 to 6. But if you're on the other side of it, though that also works, I'm not saying it's bad, but I've seen that managing people your way, it does sometimes that people take their career as a mere 9 to 5 job, right? And you end up not getting 100% juice out of that candidate in terms of productivity.
So when we say like 9 to 5 job, or for when it comes to entrepreneur, they are 24/7, they have to be working. So if, as a personal choice, if I have to ask you, what a student should be if he is willing to work hard like anything, so should he get into an organization, like to get into a job, or probably he should start something of his own, and when he should start, or what thoughts he should have while starting anything new in case if he's planning to start as being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, see, it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. I think it depends on the candidate, on what stage he is in, right? There will be few candidates who have responsibilities of family immediately after their college because they have loans and XYZ going on. So I would say that directly jumping into entrepreneurship might hit them also. But again, it's their call. But you are ready when you have that inner calling, right? I feel that is must. You should never join an early stage startup, or you should never become an entrepreneur just for fashion, right? Because entrepreneurship itself is a lifestyle, right? It is a very hardworking 24 hours. You'll have to have sleepless nights. Though there are some good memories also once you become big and people recognize you. You also feel good, but you should take a very informed decision. One thing I would say: the early you do, better.
Early you do is
Right?
better.
So in colleges, if you are, because those 4 or 5 years you have your parents to pay your bills. Right? So that's a good time to start up. Even if you fail, at least the kind of learnings you have, that takes you 5-10 years ahead to your colleagues.
Absolutely.
Right? Who is somebody working in any organization.
So, sir, you said you happen to be from Jharkhand, right? Which is, I would say, I would not consider as a tier 1 city. So, we're coming from Jharkhand and moving to Bangalore, and then you worked in various cities and countries as well. You have exposed to a lot of places. So, what one best part do you see amongst the people of other nation in terms of what is important? So, how do you differentiate being in India or being in international any of the countries?
See, ultimately, I have found 1-2 differences very clearly. At least the place from where I come from, people work very hard, and maybe that shapes also people from that side to a lot more. Even be it, I would say, even UPSC exams or even IITs, if you see, right, most of the people come there. I think because we have that very hard work attitude, because you don't have a way. right? It's either this way or that way.
That
There is
way.
no other way, right? So either you work because you don't have luxury that if you don't do something, your parents have enough so that you live generation by generation. I think another one, if you ask me the difference between places, there are, so for example, in Bangalore, when I came here, I think I would see that networking becomes a lot more better here. uh, Whatever I would think that if we wished in Jharkhand that if this thing comes in a click, it is available
It is
here.
available.
For example, even in terms of entrepreneurship ecosystem, even in terms of studies, even in terms of study materials, right? A lot more. This is access is very easy. If I talk about other countries, see, I would still say Indians are very hardworking, right? Compared to few countries, China definitely is on a different working zone, so they work really hard. Japanese work really hard, but in terms of Southeast Asia, if I talk about Philippines, Indonesia, I think Indians are definitely working hard. It's about that there are very few people who are into it, right? The whole job sector itself has not gone like 10 on 10. So either people are working or they're not working. I think that's a differentiation which India has to solve, which I think in next decade, it is said that 1/4 of the overall skilled people will come from India. So I think that's a big job to be done, and that's where entrepreneurs are required. I think if that is done, we are better than any other country. There is no rocket science anywhere, but yes, they take their work a lot more seriously. So they work, they party, they do everything, but
They balance it properly.
More professional, I would say.
Absolutely. So when we speak about, since GIBS has, we are under the IRE, which GIBS always promotes on innovation, research, and entrepreneurship. So what do you think, sir? How important are these three aspects? Let that be innovation or research or an entrepreneurship. So what do you think? How important are they in the industry?
See, I think these are super important, because if I take myself also 10-12 years back, right, one thing I would say that the whole education system is into going to classes, reading about the books, writing whatever you mug up, and then finally you get placed, right? So I think these sort of activities where a lot of institutes are doing it, BITS Pilani is doing it in a great way, ITs are doing it, AMS are doing it. So like if this institute has also picked up, I think it's a very positive move. It would bring lots of success, and if you get like 2-3 good companies coming out of the college itself, that will inspire like hundreds of students even in years to come, right? And like having it very regularly definitely would inculcate a lot of knowledge, lot of see it ultimately starts kicking you, right? That person who is seeing some interviews, let's say every week, it's starting here, there's something, and then start following people, start following articles, and that's where the urge of doing something different will come in, and this I'm pretty sure that people here will also see.
Great, because I mean, as you mentioned, that if startup comes up, currently we have more than 10 plus startups which are already a part of the student.
Great.
And all of them are doing really well. I would say not at the corporate level, but yes, at least they have picked it. Probably 3-4 years, 5 years down the line, I'm sure we would see one among them being on the news and things like that. So they've picked it really well in that context.
Great.
So moving ahead, just if I have to ask you one last question. So if you would love to give you any advice, if you have to give advice to all our viewers or probably students, so what advice would you give it when it comes to the young generation we see, the young blood we see, they keep moving from one organization to other, one business to other. So what message would you love to give it to our students, sir?
Sure. So I think 3-4 things. One is, don't shy of hard work, because nothing will come at a very easy way of doing things. There's no easy way of doing things. Hard work is number one. Whatever you do, give it time, right? Because there is time for everything. So perseverance is like super important. Have that patience, and keep working hard. Also, I would also add one very smart advice which I also got long back is having a mentor, because that helps you to keep your thought process on track so that you don't make any wrong decision. Everyone will tell you what to do. Your mentor will tell you what not to do. And I think that is a very critical decision which anyone can add in someone's life. So I would say hard work, have a mentor, have perseverance, and just do it. I mean, don't think too much about the end result. If you start thinking of outcomes, it is not going to work. Life is not a T20 game; it's a test match. So just live it that way.
So it's a really nice example you have given. Life is not a T20 but a test match. As every small work you do, that adds value to yourself. Thank you so much, Mr. Vikas, for joining us. It's really great to have you. And we've learned a lot of things. I'm sure all our viewers would agree to it and say that we have learned what industry takes it, what business takes it, or what us innovation, research, and entrepreneurship should take to the students. Thank you so much once again for
It's my
joining us.
pleasure, Sandeep. It's my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I hope our audiences have come closer knowing the mastermind, Mr. Vikas. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel at GIBS Business School, Bangalore. Follow GIBS IRE Talks and do follow all the social media handles to stay updated with the news and updates regularly. I'm Sandeep Bansali signing off for today. Looking forward to meet you soon with another enlightening episode. Thank you so much.